Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you identify as either or neither, I have been out for a pretty good amount of time. If anyone really cares, to be completely honest. Hopefully no one does. Hopefully no one minds. I hardly doubt people would mind since my audience is very small. Barely breaks double digits on a good day. The reason I've been out is because I've been on a trip to India. And for those who don't know how a trip to India goes, well, neither do I still, because this is like the one trip I've had in 11 years. The last time I went was when I was 5, so you can tell it was a new experience for me. And this video is not going to be specifically about the India trip itself, in terms of like the personal details, but rather what I recommend you do to prepare for going on a trip to India specifically. Not specifically my own trip, but a trip to India overall. Number one, let me tell you right now, you are definitely not going on a trip to India if you don't have relatives there, or if you're not trying to visit all the major tourist sites over there. If you're trying to live a life in India, I would not recommend it. I would not recommend taking a trip to India for a really long time. The process of getting a visa there is pretty hard, especially nowadays. And not to mention, if you're from a Western country, you will have to get used to a lot of things. Not a lot of things, but different enough things to the point where it might be uncomfortable and you might be longing for home. Especially if you're someone like me who believes that home is the best place to be, no matter if wherever you are right then and there that isn't home is a 5-star hotel, then you will absolutely not want to stay in India for too long. Because things like them not having toilet paper instead of using water hoses to clean their butts. For example, the fact that the showering facilities there are only now getting as popular as they are here in America, for me. And even then, well, sometimes the showers do not really work. That's my experience in southern India, specifically a relative's house that I have. The fact that I even had a good time there is mostly because I have relatives, cousins, an aunt, and an uncle. And so really, for me, my experience will be much different from your experience. If you don't have relatives, you don't have family living in India that is from India, live the traditions there, live their lives there, gotten to pick up some things from there to wherever you're living right now if it's not India, then I wouldn't recommend you go. Number two, India is actually somewhat advanced, pretty much so. There are still many things to get over. The fact that despite it being one of the countries to have been under British rule for such a long time, there are many parts and many people that still don't speak English fluently or properly. Me and my mom went on the way back to America through a very arduous 3-flight way from what is essentially southern India all the way to New York City. When I was in New Delhi to wait for my flight, the first time we came there, we had to walk a pretty long amount of time. Walk for a long amount of time just so we can even get to the gates. Not really the gates, but rather the check-ins for inspection. Like, you know how you have immigration inspections or immigration checks here in America? They have that there in India as well. And even if you do it in India, you got to do it in America too if you're planning to coming back. And that was my experience. And it is hot in India. India is one of the tropical countries with one of the hottest climates. It is not for the faint of heart. If you're struggling in an American summer, honestly, it might not be that bad Honestly, it might not be too much of a difference for India, especially nowadays, especially in this global warming thing we got going on right now. Biggest thing is, India's weather would be really bad if you're used to like winter climates. For someone who hates American summers and are a part of the crowd that secretly has to put up with people hyping up summer to be the best season of all time, if you're part of that crowd that puts up with it, doesn't think it, and actually believes winter is the best season of all, you will absolutely hate India, because the closest you ever get to an actual winter is if you go in the north of India. And if you want a really, really, really cold winter, you might want to go near the areas that are of the Himalayan mountains. Near the Himalayan mountains is where you'll get real winters. Here in southern India, which is where I went, I landed in Kochi airport, the trip to India, the flights to India, and then drove for 4 hours into Tamil Nadu, because Kochi's not in Tamil Nadu, it's in another state. Forgot what it was called. But for me, I'm of Southern Indian ancestry, so therefore, where I was in Southern India for the time. We didn't really go to Northern India at all. In fact, I think the closest we ever went was to this place called Kotagiri, and the last four letters of that name, Giri, Giri. I'm not gonna say much, but that is the name of one of my relatives. So it was a place that we definitely wanted to go because it had a pretty good resort there. We thought we were gonna be doing a lot of things there. We didn't really. We just got to eat tandoori chicken, which is absolutely amazing. If you don't mind the smoky flavor, don't mind the spiciness. Even if I didn't mind the spiciness, I'd still enjoy it. Even if I did mind the spiciness, which I absolutely did. For correction on that. For the trip to India, be sure to be ready for the tropical weather. Be ready to make long walks to get to a destination, because India is one of the most populated countries in the world, if not the most. If it has exceeded China, let me know. I think it has, but that just proves even more that it is one of the most populated countries in the world. A lot more of India is going to be so population dense that you will absolutely not have parking space. You will absolutely not see yourself being able to function in India, especially if you're going to the temples. Because to the temples, if you're of Indian ancestry, you definitely of Hindu religious alignment. And if you are of Hindu religious alignment, you will definitely be going to temples. That is literally the point of being Hindu sometimes. And for temples, you have to go barefoot. Yes, you heard me right. Barefoot on sometimes sometimes steaming hot dirt and rock. I think I literally got a blister I actually did. I got 2 blisters from my foot just from walking on like the last day of our trips to a couple of temples, including a very famous temple. I forgot the name of it, but on the way back from it, we went to a temple on the trip back to our home in this place called Coimbatore. That's the actual name of this place I resided in. Back to our trip to Coimbatore from those famous temples, we went to a mini temple that was steaming hot. The ground was so hot because it was in the morning. In India, it's hot in the mornings. So I've been yapping a long time about the actual weather. That's just because it's so important that you realize it's a hot place, so you prepare for it. Don't wear too much restrictive clothing. Don't even wear restrictive clothing at all. Wear clothing that's loose fitted, that can handle heat, and it's ideal for heat actually. If you're for Indian ancestry of Indian culture, unfortunately, if you're going to a temple, if you're going to a relative's house and the relatives there are very religiously oriented or traditionalists, you will have to wear very, very concealing clothes, including a literal scarf alongside your outfit to their house and to a temple. My mom personally had to go through that. She was literally told by my aunt and my mom's mom that she cannot wear American clothing. That is the crazy part, because that would have made it easier for people to know that she was a tourist, right? Even though she was born and raised in India for a pretty good amount, like close to half of her life now, actually more than half of her life, I'd say, she literally could not be closer to being an Indian native and a tourist at the exact same time. And it would have been way more convenient for people to know that she was a tourist. So therefore, the fact that they told her not to wear American clothing in a hot weather, having to go to a temple, and not even to a temple either, to like a relative's house, where they probably wouldn't give 2 damns if you're not wearing traditionalist clothing, because they weren't that religiously minded. And it's like, what the hell? That wouldn't have happened if you didn't have relatives there in India, if you didn't have traditionalist people there in India, and that goes to number 3. Be ready to make it clear that you're a tourist, right? Because in India, there are still a lot of traditionalist attitudes, a lot of cultural practices and ideas that are not great, right? The idea that teachers are literal gods that can exploit their students for however long. Because I had a brother, like a cousin, who I consider a brother because we were close like that during the time that I was there. He goes to school from 8 to 3. He wakes up at fucking 5:30 in the early morning, and then after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or early evening, he had to stay until 5:30 because the teachers there were forcing him to stay. for coaching, which is some bullshit. That again is just one example. Another example is that adults there do not think kids know that all that much. That's just the truth. Like your own parents or your own like relatives will think that kids are not supposed to be mature. They think that kids are supposed to be dumb and not know a lot of things. My cousins are the complete opposite. They know so much, and I'm just surprised. It's like, y'all are 60, you're 20? What? Bro got the experience of a goddamn 40-year-old grown man in a 20-year-old's body. That's exactly me describing the cousin whose name is shared by the 4 letters that code the Geary location that I went to. That's the same guy, Geary. This man has 40 years of expertise in 20 years. Like, what the hell? Like, what the fuck? And it goes to number 4, which honestly, just prepare to have prescribe yourself a lot of nausea medication. Get yourself lots of nausea medication. I should have put this in the beginning of the video, since that is the immediate first struggle I faced when going on to the flights. At the end of them, you will vomit like utter hell. You will have terrible nausea if it's your first time flying in so long. Like, even if 5-year-old version of yourself was perfectly fine playing it when the flight was landing, it's not a guarantee that 11 years later you'll still be like that. For me, it definitely wasn't. Because my mom told me that at 5 years old, I was playing around during an airplane landing. But then when I'm at 16 years of age, all of a sudden I'm just vomiting at the end of the flights. It is horrible. I think I literally had to take advantage of a wheelchair accommodation that was used just for collecting our bags. Like, for pushing more of our bags, since we had a lot of those. We didn't have even that much, but they're just heavy bags. Or, not bags, luggage. Even then, I had to use that wheelchair for myself since I was so nauseous. And I just did not feel good. I think I threw up a grand total of 10 times on the flights. Not affirming for the fact that I vomited for the first full week of my 3 weeks in India. It is crazy. It is absolutely insane. The nausea will hit you like hell. So if you don't have nausea medication like my mother had, even when she had nausea pills, it was still bad. It was bad. And especially if you're someone who is not used to that. If you only have nausea once in a blue moon, if you're someone who's accustomed to Western foods, and it's not even the foods either. Like, I've gone to food places that have very good sanitation. Most of them were high-end restaurants. And it's like, those places have good sanitation, even for being from a country whose street food is allegedly one of the worst, most unsanitary nonsenses. It's clean there, but even from that, it'll be horrible for you. The air itself will not be great. And so this is a very unorganized rant for like how to deal with India. I might do a part 2, and I definitely will. That it will be less about the actual tips on how to deal with India, as much as it is for my own personal experience. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. See ya.